Hi, and welcome to the next video. In this video, I'll be talking about an experience I had while in Harbin, China. Now, I talked about traveling quite a bit in China, and I think I may have mentioned how my first trip to another city was in Harbin. And part of the reason I had gone was a coworker of mine had already pre-booked the trip. I heard about what she was going to see, which was the ice festival, and figured, can I come along? Sure enough, she said yes, and we went. Anyway, at the end of the trip, I decided to take a taxi back to the airport because she was going to stay for a few more days, so I figured, okay, well, see you, got to go back to work the next day. And took a taxi from the hostel, which was this pretty cool synagogue that was converted into a hostel accommodation. Future video I might talk about just my experience in the trip, because it was pretty neat, I think. Anyhow, so got in a cab, started heading out. The airport was quite a distance away at that time, and I do not believe there was a train station that was going to it. I'm sure by now it's not the case, or no longer the case. So, like I said, this was during winter, so this is about mid-January-ish when I'm there, so it's still pretty cold. So we're driving along, he gets on this highway road, and we're making our way to the airport, which was a bit of a distance. And at a certain point, he has a blowout. So he, eases the road to the car to the side of the road, and we both get out, look, and see which tire's blown out. Fortunately, he had a spare, but I was kind of worried that, oh, am I going to make my my flight, because what if this takes a while? What if he has to get a tow truck? What if any number of things? You worry when you have an appointment you have to make. Anyway, he fortunately had a spare tire, like I said. He gets the jack from the car and gets the tire iron, and tries to loosen up the nuts or the bolts on the tire, and he's having a hard time doing it. And he's trying to do it all by hand. And I'm watching this play out, and I realize he's kind of doing it the hard way. So at the time, my Chinese was crap, to be honest. I could formulate some very basic phrases, but in terms of listening, having even a small conversation was really difficult. So using some body language and gestures, I communicated to him that, hey, let me try something. When I was much younger, I was into cars, and I knew a little bit about, changing tires and oil changes and things like that. So I figured, let me see if there's let me show him an easier way to take out the bolts. So he was trying to use his arms, and it wasn't budging. So what I did is I got the tire iron, put it in one of the bolts, and angled it in such a way that it was kind of this way, or it might have been this way, I forget. Let me see. Yeah, this way, so to the left. Then made sure it was in there firmly, put my hands on top of the car, and then basically stood on the tire iron so that the weight of my body would just be enough to loosen the bolt, which it did. So I showed him, hey, look, piece of cake. He looks over and said, oh, okay. And then that kind of made the rest of his job a lot easier, including tightening it and all that. Real nice guy, and he was kind of great. Thankful that I showed him this way. I think I even took a picture of him while he was either fixing it or had started doing it. But yeah, it was an interesting moment, not knowing if am I gonna make my flight, what's going on here, how's this gonna work, because I've never experienced this in a different country. And was grateful we were able to fix the problem, be on our way. I got to my plane on time and had no issues. But that's the Harbin taxi incident, which I know a lot, you're probably thinking, oh, that's not so bad. Well, when you're alone, don't speak the language, you're out on a dirt road, or a highway, I should say, in the middle of nowhere, and you've got a flight to catch, you're going to have a different point of view. I would like to say thank you to the gentleman Never got his name. Obviously never saw him again because I never visited Harbin again, for getting me to the airport on time and, you know, being a nice guy in general. I hope he's doing well, and his family and everyone else around him. But anyway, that's this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.